By the end of this video, you'll be able to look at any research objective and immediately know the type of analysis to use. Before we start, let me make something very clear. Your research objective does not directly give you a statistical test. Instead, it gives you a clue. Here are things you must consider to choose your final analysis. The first one on the list is the number of variables involved. The second one is the type of variables, whether you are using categorical variable or continuous variable. Also, whether you are comparing, relating, or predicting the data. The next one is your research design and also your research questions. These are very important. The last but not the least is the number of groups involved in your data. So don't rely on the verb in your research objective alone, though the verb is still a very good starting point in choosing your final analysis. Disclaimer before we proceed, because I'll be using some statistical terms, and if you are not familiar with those terms, kindly watch this video before proceeding. Now let's go step by step. When your objective uses the word describe, it simply means you are summarizing data. You are asking, what does the data look like? And such example is when you have to describe the demographic characteristics of respondents. So you want to know, how many males and females are present in your response? Also, what are their ages? You might also want to know what is their education level. Correct analysis for this type of objective to either use frequency, percentages, or standard deviation. So remember, describe means to summarize data only. That is what describe means. Now let's talk about relationships. Relationships in research means that there is a connection or association between two variables. It simply means when one variable changes, does the other change too? Relationship in your research objective answer questions like, are they linked? Do they increase or decrease together? And how strong is the connection? When I mean increase or decrease together, I'm talking about your variables. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have an objective that states to examine the relationship between study hours and exam performance, meaning you want to know if the students who study more get higher scores. Another example, to examine the relationship between income and savings. You want to know, do higher incomes lead to higher savings? The best analysis to use for relationship is correlation analysis. It helps you to check the relationship or the connection or association between two variables. The next verb you can see in your research objective is effect or influence. It means one variable is causing or changing another variable. It is about cause and impact. So when you see effect or influence, what comes to your mind is cause and impact. Example, your research objective can be to examine the effect of advertising on sales. And this means that does advertising change sales? You really want to know. So you see that this is different from relationship. Relationship is there a connection, but effect is you want to check if one variable changes another variable. So for this type of objective, you use regression analysis, as regression analysis shows the effect of a variable on the another. So once you see effect, to examine the effect, to investigate the effect, to access the effect of one variable on the another, what the analysis that should come to your mind at that moment is regression analysis. So another example I can give you is if you want to examine the influence of study habits on academic performance. You don't just want to check if there is a relationship between the study habits and academic performance. No, you want to check, does higher study habits change academic appearance? Now, the next verb in your research objective is predict. To predict means to use known data to estimate or forecast an outcome. It is about getting future or unknown values using data, not random guessing, but statistical predictions. So you can have a research objective that says to predict student performance based on study hours. This is saying that can we predict that if students are placed on this amount of hours of study, they will get this academic performance. For this type of objective, the study habit is the predictor. It is the independent variable, while the academic performance is the outcome, is the dependent variable. And this is because the study hour predicts the academic performance. The academic performance does not predict the study hours. So you are building a model like better study hours leads to higher predicted performance. When you see your objective as to predict, do you understand? Yeah, what comes to your mind is regression analysis. So regression analysis does not only check the effect, it also predicts. There are two types of regression analysis you can use. You can either use linear regression or logistic regression. Linear regression is used if the performance is a score. If you have 56, 80 as the academic performance, and use logistic regression if the academic performance is in categories. If you have pass or fail, so that is when you use logistic regression. Always note that. The next word used in research objective is identify factors. For example, you can see word like to identify factors affecting flood in a specific location. So you know that identify normally summarize, but the next word after the identify is the factors. So you want to be able to identify the factors that actually affect flood. And remember that statistical analysis is not based on assumption, it's based on statistics. So to identify factors means to find out the key variables that are responsible for or linked to an outcome. So the key word here is the key variables, not assumed variables. So when you see this type of word in your objective, the next analysis that should come to your mind is either multiple regression analysis or factor analysis. You can use multiple regression analysis if you are testing the influence of several factors on an outcome, while you use factor analysis if you want to group many related variables into fewer main factors. Okay, let me give an example. Let's say your research objective is to identify factors influencing customer loyalty, and you have different factors like pricing, service, quality, customer responses. Those are different factors, and if you want to group them, let's say overpricing, underpricing, and those related variables are on pricing, but they are all factors you have put out there. So you want to group them under if it is based on customer service, or if it is based on pricing, or if it is based on quality. So this is what factor analysis helps you to do. It helps you to identify the key variables that affect an outcome. This is where it differs from using a descriptive statistic, because descriptive statistics just highlights to you that, okay, majority of the respondents are saying that pricing is the major factor, but you want to go in depth into knowing fully well which ones are the major factors that influence customer loyalty. The next word found in research objective is evaluate. To evaluate means to carefully judge how good, effective, or useful something is. It is about measuring performance, effectiveness, and making a judgment. So note that this is you making a judgment. To evaluate means to make a judgment, to judge how good and effective a certain variable is. An example of research objective you can be using might be to evaluate the effectiveness of the training program on employee performance. So this is saying that you want to know how good are the training program. Do training program actually improve employee performance? You want to know, are they effective or not? This is you wanting to judge the effectiveness of a training program on the employee. When you have to evaluate in your research objective, 4 analyses should come to your mind. The first one is paired sample t-test. I use paired sample t-test if you want to check for the before or after training program effects on the employee. You use the independent t-test. You want to compare the employee performance of those that attended the training and those that did not attend the training. The next possible analysis you can use is ANOVA. And use ANOVA if you have more than 2 groups. The last possible analysis you can use is regression. You use this if you are measuring the impact of training on performance. This is where you use regression. So always note this. It is not just enough to know that, okay, I want to evaluate. What exactly are you evaluating before you proceed with choosing the possible analysis to be used? The next commonly used word in research objective is to examine. And this means to look closely at something to understand it, investigate it, or find out how things are connected. To examine is a broad word, and the analysis used depends highly on what you are examining. The first way examine is used is to examine a relationship. For example, a research objective can be to examine the relationship between social media use and academic performance. Remember we spoke about relationship earlier, so you want to know, are they connected? Does the use of social media increase or decrease academic performance? And remember the analysis I said you will use earlier is correlation analysis. We also have the commonly use of examine in research objective is to examine an effect or influence. Let's say your research objective is to examine the effect of sunlight on food production, and we have an independent and dependent variable. The independent variable is the sunlight and the dependent variable is the food production. So for this, remember you are looking at the effect. And remember I said earlier that once you see effect or influence, what comes to mind is regression analysis. The last use of examine in research objective is to examine the differences. If you have a research objective that states to examine the differences in satisfaction level between male and female customers, you want to know, are the group different or do male and female customers get satisfied on the same level? So this is where you use a t-test or an ANOVA table. So you use an ANOVA table if you have multiple groups that are greater than 2. So for this type of objective, you will be using a t-test since your groups are just 2, meaning male and female. So another commonly used verb in research objectives is to explore. This means to look into something in a broad, flexible way. Let's say you were given a clothing material to just make any form of design from it. So what you want to do is to check what type of design best suits this clothing material. So that's what explore is like. So you are given a data set and you are asked to check the varieties of things that are present in that data set. And SPSS has a feature which is also termed explore under descriptive statistics. So all you just need to do, import your data, clean it up, go to the explore, and then that will bring out the output of your data for you. So you see all the details from the minimum, the maximum, the mean, the standard deviation, the factors, the frequencies, and everything that is present in your data. You can either use 3 possible analysis when you see the word to explore in your research objective. You can either use descriptive statistics, correlation analysis, or factor analysis. You remember what factor analysis is, right? Factor analysis groups related factors into a main factor. So if you want to explore by checking which of these factors that are present in your data set are the major factor needed for this topic that I'm working on or for this research, use your factor analysis. And if you want to check relationship between one variable or the other, you can use correlation analysis. So when you see the word explore, what should come to your mind is exploratory analysis methods. Now I know for some people it's just as though I've been speaking English and speaking English and speaking English and they don't quite understand what I've been saying. So now is the point where I simplify everything much more for you. Right now I have some exercises I want you to engage in. So take a pause, carry out the exercise, and comment the right analysis below. Although I'll be showing you what the correct analysis is, but tell me what you thought the analysis was before you saw the answer. So the first objective, to describe the demographic characteristics of university students in Nigeria. The correct answer for this is frequency, mean, or percentages, and that can be summarized into descriptive statistics. The next objective, to investigate the relationship between job satisfaction and employee turnover in private companies. The answer to this is correlation analysis. If you got this, you can give yourself a clap. What analysis will you use if the objective is to determine the influence of leadership style on employee productivity in manufacturing firms? The right analysis for this is multiple regression analysis. The next objective is to compare customer satisfaction among 3 telecommunication companies in Nigeria. The right answer is ANOVA table. To predict employee turnover based on job satisfaction in public organizations, the right analysis to use here is logistic regression analysis. Next is to identify factors affecting customer loyalty in the banking sector. The right analysis to use is multiple regression analysis. To evaluate the impact of digital learning on student academic performance, the right analysis is either t-test or regression analysis. To examine differences in academic performance among students with different study habits, the right analysis is either ANOVA or t-test depending on the number of groups. The last objective exercise here is to explore factors affecting online shopping behavior among young youth. The right analysis is descriptive plus factor analysis and or correlation analysis. I hope you find this video very helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your answers below. If you need my assistance with any research analysis, kindly contact me via my email on LinkedIn as is present in my bio. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.